Hey everybody, it's Andre Shirdan, and I'm back with another friend in the business, and I'm with Debora Carrier, and she is the founder and CEO of Twice as Nice Uniforms. And before founding Twice as Nice, she spent a couple of decades as a chairside hygienist and also as a CPR instructor. So just in case we need her, in case any of us passes out, we'll talk through the process of getting us back to life. So we got to meet 5 years ago, and it just seems like yesterday, 5 years ago in Cancun. And I was doing a speaking gig there, and we got a chance to meet each other. And now we just bump into each other every now and then across dental world. So so good to see you here.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and those are your best employees behind you, right?
Yes, yes, they're great. They never talk back. They they do whatever I say.
Raises only every 4 years, right?
Yeah, I know this freaks everybody out, but it's my room.
Well, that's what the uniform business is all about. But thanks for doing this, and you got my questions ahead of time, so you're all prepared. Um, and these are really easy questions, but I always like to say, every time that I run into somebody and I meet people in the dental field, or any of the businesses that I work in, I always say, you know what? We always find out that there's a fork in the road that somebody has taken. So what I wanted to ask you is question one: compare yourself to the person you were before you took the fork in the road, any fork, and tell us about the fork you took.
So I really love this question. I really thought about it a good bit because I've taken several forks in the road, but this has been my big fork in the road. And looking back on it, my path before then was a comfortable path, and looking back on it, it's where I was supposed to be at that time. I'm a big believer in timing is everything. But once I took that fork, I was just, everything came out. My passion, everything that I believe that I was put here to do just came about, and just literally like miracles started falling out of the sky. And I knew that I had taken the right fork, and I exploded, and I'm super, super happy.
Yeah. And it's amazing how different things affect different things in the world. It's almost like, I'm a big nerd. So I think about like Star Trek and, time travel and little things that could affect big things in the future, even the show Back to the Future. I always wanted to buy a DeLorean and drive it around just so I could say, oh yeah, I just got back from yesterday, that kind of thing. But I think about like even COVID, how that has affected your
Oh,
business, and how little things like that have changed a lot of the things that we've done in the world. So that fork is such an important part about who we are. If we hadn't gone to Cancun, we wouldn't have known each other, and we
exactly. I
we'd be
know.
passing each other in the dental meetings like, I think I know her from someplace, but now I can
Right.
say I know you. So
Right. And that's right when I was starting my company. So I was just, barely opening the door to everything that's happened since then. So.
yeah, and it was so funny. I don't know, whatever the last meeting we ran it. I think it was maybe the Connecticut State Dental meeting. You were looking for models, and I was like, I do this just to be out there, but I got to go teach a course.
Yes, I get so many requests. People are like, "Why didn't you ask me to model?" I'm like, "Well,
That would have been
anybody's."
another fork on the road. You may have made me leave dentistry to go into modeling full time. So I'm glad I stayed with.
I did have a dentist recently. I asked her to be in a fashion show, and she pulled me aside later, and she was like, "Wow, you really took me out of my comfort zone. I'm so glad you asked me to do this." And
That's
so
awesome.
I
See?
changed my
There
life.
you go. Forks in the road. So here's my question number two, which is, give us a book that everyone should be reading, and maybe something that everybody should be reading over and over again.
So the book that I'm rereading right now is Profit First, and I read this maybe about a year ago, and several friends had recommended that I read it. And then I'm also in an organization called Entrepreneurial Organization, and they follow a lot of the stuff in this book. So, and for me, it's a great book because having a product is a way different type of business, and it switches things around. So instead of sales minus expenses equals profit, it's sales minus profit equals expenses. And it has you set up things like having separate bank accounts for everything, and it shows that companies that put their profit first are the ones, in the very beginning, are the ones that usually escalate faster and are more successful.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a great read.
Yeah. And it was one of the things that I had the hardest time with a lot of clients explaining to them that, you know what, you're an employee of the business and you need to be paid first. So that's, you have to look at it that way. And a lot of people don't, especially in the dental field, don't see profit. They think profit is a bad word, just like the word sale. You know,
Right. No, well,
you
that's a
gotta,
hard
you gotta think
thing
about
to
this.
do. I mean, you're out there, you got your passion, you want to go, 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 and you just think, oh, well, that'll come later, but you can't do that.
Yeah. Later is retirement. And if you haven't made any money, you can't retire. So you got to think about it first, right? That's a good book. That's a great one. So here's question number three, which is give me one or two of your favorite quotes.
All right, so I have two, and one of them I've had for forever and ever, and it's life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass; it's about learning how to dance in the rain. And that's by Vivian Green, who's an author and a visionary. And I've always followed that. Number one, I love to dance, and I love the rain. But I've had a lot of obstacles to get over in my life, and I always just try to keep a smile on my face and deal with whatever was in my way and make the best of each. I just looked at everything as an opportunity, whether it was an opportunity or not. There's
Yeah,
something good is going to come out of this. I was put here for a reason, and I'll just dance in the rain till we get through the storm.
that's a good one. I love it. I love
And
it.
the other one kind of goes along the same thing is in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity, and that's Albert Einstein. And I've certainly used that a lot since I started my business and when COVID hit and we needed to pivot a little bit. But every time I get in a difficult situation, I'm like, okay, we're here for a reason. We're going to learn from this. We're going to take what we learned and make it better.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about that. I hadn't thought about this for years, but I combined your two quotes into this. When I was a kid, my mom is such a nature lover. She would say, like when it started raining, she would say, "Go sit outside." And I go, "Are you crazy? It's like lightning." And she'd go, "You can't believe how beautiful the world is when lightning strikes and you see it." And I think about that all the time. And, now when it rains, I go, oh, yeah, let me take a look. And especially on a plane,
Right.
being
Oh,
over a storm is
nothing
amazing.
better. Yeah, I love that. And there's nothing better than watching that storm come in. And I
Yeah,
was also the mom who told my kid to go out there and jump in the puddles. Every other mom was saying, "Don't get wet," and I'm like, "No, go do it. Go get
yeah,
muddy."
that's it. You got to get muddy. That's the way to you
Yeah.
learn how to be. And
Uh,
we could have solved all these viruses by getting muddy enough.
yes. Yeah. Don't even get me started.
That's old school, right? So here's question number four is what high tech thing has to have a battery, has to have a plug you can't live without?
Well, this isn't very high tech, but it's my phone because I'm on the road constantly.
Yeah.
And that's just the easiest method to keep in touch with everybody. I can keep in touch with my factory. I can keep in touch with what's going on with my website and and what's going on at home. And, so it's not very high tech, but, it works just about anywhere I am. So,
Yeah.
I can't live without it. In fact, I have this thing when I'm packing and I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to forget something. But if I have my phone, I can get anywhere and do anything.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that is becoming the such the thing that nobody can live without. I wonder what it would have been like if we went back to like the 1940s. What was the thing that everybody couldn't live without? And I guess I don't know what that could have been. What was the technology of the time that everybody had? Maybe a pocket knife or Zippo or
I
something like
know.
that.
Now you got me thinking. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
read that.
Yeah, see, I go down these rabbit holes. Okay, so
Right.
on the flip side of that, what's the low tech thing? No battery, no plug that you can't live without.
All right. Well, this is going to be a little out of the box, I think, but
Okay.
and I just learned this recently is my dog. I had up until November of this year, I had a pug. Her name was Miriam, and she was 17 and a half years old when she
Mm,
passed. And I thought, all right, with all my travel and everything, I don't need to get another dog. So I have gone a few months without a dog and I was miserable. And I didn't even realize it. I was like, I'm just getting depressed. And I was like, what is wrong here? And it's because I didn't have that dog following me around, somebody to take care of because I live on my own, by myself. And so anyway, I'm getting a new puppy in 2 weeks and I'm so
awesome.
excited. And I just the idea of getting a puppy and I've been able to FaceTime with her and it's changed my whole attitude. I'm so much happier and I'm course, I'm buying stupid puppy things. And but yeah,
That's awesome.
I realized I've always had a dog in my life. The whole time I was growing up, I've always had a dog. So that time that I didn't have one, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I love that answer, and I'm a cat person, but I get the idea. And I'm such a techie that I actually went out and bought an iBo. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a Sony electronic dog, and it learns, and
Oh,
it's
I do know. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and it cost me like $5,000 to buy, but I had it and it walked around my office and it was so cool, but it wasn't the same. Eventually, it just became a toy for the cat to play with.
Right. Yeah. It's not going to
I
curl
thought
up on your lap. And
I could mix your two things, high tech and low tech, at the same time. But yeah, that's a good one. I love that answer. So let's go into question 6. So let's circle this back to the fork in the road. And now Deb could go back to the fork and whisper in your own ear. What advice would you give yourself?
number one thing is always trust your gut. I learned that the hard way on 2 or 3 different occasions, and I went with advice from people who I thought were smarter and knew more than I did. But my gut was telling me not to do it, but I did. And looking back on it, those were, the mistakes that I made. So always, always, always follow your gut. Another big one is that you can't change people, and be really wary of people who try to change you. There's always some alternative motive behind that. It's not good. And I've seen so many people try to do that, especially in the business world, and it's just sets you up for failure every single time. And the last one, and this one took me a long time to learn, is don't be afraid of what you don't know. I really think, looking back on it, until I took that fork in the road, I didn't ask people things. If I didn't know something, I'd either try to figure it out on my own or just be quiet. But now I've learned that asking questions is the very best thing to do for so many different reasons. You learn, you get to know other people, it really connects you. So ask if you don't know.
Yeah. The smartest people in the world ask the smartest questions. Yeah, and I agree with you full. I got in trouble once. I was asked to come and present to the seniors, the D4s at one of the dental schools, and the professor stood up, and in his introduction he said, "Let it be known that none of you guys will make any money the first 5 years that you're out in dentistry." And I said, "Excuse me, that's incorrect." I said, I have dentists who get out of school and they make money tomorrow and become very wealthy. And he like took me to school after class. But sometimes the people who are instructing you are not instructing you in the right way. And I had to stop on that one. So that's really good advice for yourself. So here's a question I didn't prepare you for, but it's an easy one.
Okay.
Debora is who she is because of hard work or luck?
Hard work.
Yeah.
And there's it's really funny, and I say this all the time, and people come up to me and say, "You're so lucky." And I thought, yeah, I worked really, really, really hard for this luck.
Yeah. And I think at one time we were talking, and you were in the midst of either a factory change or something like that. And I could just see the smile was there, but you were, like the duck who's calm on the surface, but the feet are paddling like crazy under it.
Yeah.
You're a hard worker. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much how my whole life is, but that's okay.
That's okay. Patting the dog will calm you down, right?
There you go. Yeah. 2 more weeks.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck. And I can't wait to see does the dog have a name yet?
Yes, her name is Vivian.
Can't wait to see Vivian on Facebook, and good luck. And I will see you soon. I can't wait to get out there and see you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing this.